So today we're going to be multiplying polynomials and then factoring out a GCF. So our first step here is going to be to multiply these polynomials. So I'm going to take this first polynomial and write each term over a box over here, and then I'm going to take my second polynomial, oops, let's switch colors here, and we'll write it down the side. Okay, so multiplying is just like we've been multiplying before. So I'm going to do 3x times x will give me 3x squared. And then I'm going to do 3 times x, which will give me 3x. 3x times 4 gives me 12x. And last but not least, 3 times 4 will give me 12. Okay, so next I want to write this in my standard form. So I'm going to get my 3x squared. I'm going to combine my 3x and my 12x and get 15x. And finally, I still have that plus 12 on the end. Now, the GCF, pulling out the GCF is what's going to come next. Your GCF is going to be the biggest number that all three of these terms can be divided by. Okay, so I'm looking for a number that I can divide 3 and 15 and 12. And the easiest way to do this is to start with your smallest number, 3. And if all the other terms can be divided by 3, then that's going to be your GCF. So in this case, it is going to be 3 because all these terms can be divided by 3. Now, there are no variables that we're going to pull out because this 12 does not have an x with it. In order for the variable to be part of the GCF, it has to be in all the terms. So once you find your GCF, this number is going to go outside a set of parentheses. This is how we pull it out. It's going to be the factor that's outside of our parentheses that we're going to multiply everything inside our parentheses by. And what we're going to do is divide, each term by that GCF. So we're going to take each of these terms and divide it by 3. That's what it means when we say pull out the GCF. We're dividing it. And then what goes inside your parentheses is going to be the answer you get when you do that division. So in this case, 3x squared divided by 3 is going to leave me with 1x squared. 15x divided by 3 is going to leave me with 5x. And finally, that 12 divided by 3 is going to leave me with 4. So when you pull out this GCF, remember, this is a factor. That means if I take this factor and I multiply everything inside, it's going to bring me back to my original problem. It'll bring me back to this standard form. Okay, that's what we're doing when we pull out that GCF. Okay, let's try one more problem just so you can see it again. So we're going to start off, we're going to take this 2x minus 2, and then we'll take our x minus 1, and we're going to multiply this out and get our standard form. So 2x times x will give me 2x squared. We're going to take negative 2 times x will give me negative 2x. 2x times negative 1 gives me negative 2x. And last but not least, if we do negative 1 times negative 2, I get positive 2. So now we'll write our standard form. We get our 2x squared, our negative 2x, and negative 2x gives me negative 4x. And last but not least, we have this plus 2. Okay, so now I'm looking for a GCF, which is the biggest number that all three of these terms can be divided by. If I look at my smallest number, 2, I can see that all three of those terms can be divided by 2. So my GCF is going to be 2. 2 will go outside my parentheses, and I'm going to go through and divide each of these terms by 2. So 2x squared divided by 2 is going to leave me with 1x squared. I've got a negative 4 divided by 2, which is going to leave me with a negative 2. We'll talk about those addition and subtraction signs in a minute here. And then last but not least, 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. Now, a little hint to you. Whatever addition or subtraction symbols you have in your problem, those are going to stay the same when you write your factored form. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind as you do it. So if you have addition symbols in your problem, you're going to have addition symbol in your answer. And that's how you pull out a GCF.